China takes the bulk of Iran's exports, around 1.5, 1.6 million barrels a day. That oil has been moving despite the fact that US sanctions haven't been dropped. That's largely a story that rolled out over the Biden administration, but Trump was very clear, we're going to make Iran broke again, and we're going to do it through sanctions. And what's been interesting over the last couple of months is that there have been new sanctions, including, for the first time, the US sanctioning a Chinese independent refiner, a so-called teapot, a fairly large escalation in the sanctions campaign, although small at the same time. They only listed one independent refiner. Other than that, the US sanctions rollout has been pretty small. It's been gradual. It's more of a sanctions squeeze than a sanctions shock.
So the sentiment seems to be around a very limited upside for oil prices. We asked about the drivers of oil prices. 40% said it's going to be the recovery in the economy and the China demand story over OPEC plus plans and geopolitical developments.
On the solar side, the price differential is really dramatic. And that's actually the reason why these Chinese solar companies are very interested in the US market. If you compare, for example, a module price in China to a module price in the US, it's such a dramatic difference that these Chinese solar companies are willing to accept the political risk premium of setting up factories in the US, right?
Global solar module price right now, the ones that the Chinese manufacturers are basically subject to, is about 9 cents a watt roughly here at the moment. Whereas First Solar, they're selling their panels for about 30 cents a watt, multi-year contracted backlog.
An interesting data point, which didn't get a whole lot of attention. A couple weeks ago, the EU very quietly, without fanfare, dropped its commitment to entirely icing out Russian pipeline gas by 2027. They just dropped it. It's not there in the official sort of planning strategy forward. They're not making a commitment to completely cutting off.
On the China side of things, in terms of how the Chinese are thinking about US LNG purchases, we already saw some restrictions in January, right, in terms of the retaliation to earlier US restrictions, but those weren't really meaningful. Those were just more symbolic than substantive.